Thank you, Madam Speaker, and it's a pleasure to be here today and to speak to this Take Note debate. And I want to thank the member from Essex for talking about jobs and the economy. I know he knows his way to Sarnia Lambton because I've enjoyed many meetings there with the industry, construction industry, where he was there with me about pipelines, actually, at Leuna, at Leuna's headquarters. That's a while ago now. But I want to say that yes, I'm glad he touched on the new technology because Enbridge intends to spend $500 million to put a new tunnel underneath the Straits of Mackinac, something like 9-10 kilometers long, over to the other side. And it's technology that we're quite used to in Sarnia Lambton. We have a number of pipelines under the river in the St. Clair. One we just finished about a year and a half ago. So our people on our side are quite used to taking part in that. The issue of Line 5 that we have gathered to discuss today is something we all share a stake in. As my colleague previously mentioned, last November, the Governor of Michigan took the unprecedented action of revoking the 1953 easement, allowing Enbridge Line 5 pipeline to operate through the Straits of Mackinac. An action taking after Line 5 has been in operation for 65 years, Madam Speaker. 65 years of safe, reliable service. The Governor's order takes effect in May, 2 months from now. That is why it is so important that we are gathered here today as members of this legislature to discuss how important Line 5 is to our province, our neighbours in Quebec, and to our country and province as a whole. In a meeting yesterday that I attended between the government and business leaders from Ontario and Michigan, sponsored by the Ontario and Michigan Chamber of Commerce, Line 5 and my riding of Sarnia Lambton was described as ground zero in this debate. That's because my riding of Sarnia Lambton is home to the largest refining and petrochemical complex in the Great Lakes region. It's where Line 5 connects Western Canada with Eastern Canada. If you've ever filled up with gas, hopped on a flight at Pearson, had something delivered to your home, shopped for local Ontario produce, or turned up the temperature on your thermostat, there's a good chance that that energy that made that possible came from Sarnia Lambton. The people of Sarnia Lambton and the workers are very proud of the work that we do there. We are the birthplace of the commercial oil production in North America, dating all the way back to 1858 in Oil Springs, Ontario. We've been producing and refining oil and gas ever since. So it goes without saying that as a community, the impact of shutting off Line 5 will be immediate and deep. The Sarnia Lambton Petrochemical Manufacturing Complex directly employs over 4,900 people. It is a highly integrated, interlinked cluster. A key advantage of this cluster is that a byproduct from one manufacturer is not waste, but that actually becomes an input for a neighboring company. There's no other place like it in the province, and it represents one of our most important economic assets, generating more than $28 billion in annual economic input for the province. An additional 23,500 indirect jobs, approximately one-third, Madam Speaker, of the Sarnia Lambton's total employment, are supported by the Sarnia Lambton Petrochemical Complex. This includes approximately 6,000 unionized tradespeople that provide construction services to Sarnia Lambton's Chemistry Valley. Highly skilled tradespeople from labour unions like Labourers International Union of North America, the United Association of Canadian Piping Trades, Local 663, International Union 793, Operating Engineers, the union I was once part of many years ago, the Ontario International Brotherhood of Boilermakers, Millwrights, Local 1592, Carpenters, Local 1256, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the Sarnia Building Trades, and the list goes on, Madam Speaker. Without Line 5, all of the work done by these hardworking men and women would be in jeopardy. Madam Speaker, the significance of Line 5 to the energy security of our province and this country can't be understated. The significance of Line 5 to the economic health of our province cannot be understated. So that is why it is so important that as members of this legislature, we all stand and take our turn discussing the critically important task of ensuring Line 5 remains operational. Our government, the Government Caucus, have been actively working this file for months to raise its profile with the federal government and the people of Ontario. I myself, I know along with the Premier and the Energy Ministers, have drafted letters both to Governor Whitmer, Prime Minister Trudeau, of course, all all the federal members of Parliament in the Liberal caucus as well as the Conservative caucus have all received letters from provincial members. I've encouraged many of my caucus to write letters as well. But we need more than just leadership from a local member or the Associate Ministry of Energy or the Ministry of Energy or the Premier. We've all been doing our part, reaching out to the federal colleagues, writing to the Prime Minister and his cabinet ministers, asking for advocacy on their part. This is truly a time when we need a Team Canada approach to resolve this issue. Line 5 is an energy lifeline for our province. The products carried by Line 5 from Western Canada through Wisconsin and Michigan before being delivered to Sarnia-Lambton for refining become the fuel that fuel our modern lives. Line 5 pipeline supplies about half of the crude oil used by Ontario and Quebec refineries, which make everyday products like gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and home heating fuels such as propane. The various chemistry and chemical products produced from the byproducts of the refining process are used in many industries and sectors across our province and beyond. Agriculture, construction, food production, manufacturing, textiles, transportation, and more. The list of sectors that have benefited from the safe, reliable movement of products through Line 5 for the last 65 years seems almost endless. Line 5 transports up to 540,000 barrels per day of light crude oil, light synthetic crude, and natural gas liquids. If the Governor of Michigan were to be successful in shutting down Line 5, refineries served by this Line 5 in Ontario, Quebec, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania would see their supply drop by almost half. There's no easy, safe, or realistic way to replace that supply. We'd either be looking at trucking, rail, that's about it. Maybe Maritimes on the Great Lakes, but that's not easy either. It's almost a certainty that prices at the pumps would increase, so would prices for home heating fuel. We've worked very hard to try and limit the economic damage of COVID-19 pandemic for households and small businesses over the last 11 months. To now face the possibility of an energy supply issues and rapidly rising costs on essentials like fuel, food, and home heating, one has to look no farther than the recent events in Texas to understand what kind of impact that can have. Madam Speaker, I want to thank all of the members of the Government Caucus and the Opposition Caucus as well, as we see how we engage on this very important issue on Line 5. I was glad to hear the member from Barrie Innisfil talk about agriculture and the impact. She's reached out, obviously, to many people in her riding. That's great. The Premier, our Minister of Energy, and the Associate Minister have all been working with me nonstop on this Line 5 for the past few months. I want to let them know that it's got the attention of the people in Sarnia-Lambton, and they appreciate it. And to the people of Sarnia-Lambton who are watching or listening today, I want to let you know that our government, myself, the Premier, all of our caucus members will do everything we can do to make sure that Line 5 remains open and your jobs are protected. Our neighbours in Michigan are our friends. They're our best trading partners. We share the Great Lakes region together. We share an international and regional economy, and we're all best served when Ontario and Michigan work together and lead together. I know that there's a broad coalition of support both in my community and on the Michigan and American side have dealt with the two chambers of commerce. Like I say, we have a Team Ontario approach, a Team Canada approach, and I broached the subject the other day on the call that we should be looking at a Team North America approach to energy, because it's very important. And we can talk about the future and how we're going to transition from this product to another product. Ladies and gentlemen watching this today, for the foreseeable future, crude oil and its derivatives are going to be a major part of this economy, whether it's through jet fuel at Pearson or at the Detroit airport. So that's not going to happen overnight. We can do these things at the same time in parallel. Thank you again to all of my colleagues for the work you're doing here today by taking part in this debate, and especially my caucus colleagues who have supported me in this all along. It's a collective effort that will make a difference, and I look forward to the rest of the debates, today's important debate, and thank you with that, Madam Speaker, and I'll yield the floor.